morning, guys. The book I'm reading, Winners, Friedrich Bachmann, it takes place in some town in a forest area that is freezing cold. It's so cold where they live, they can just pour water on their lawn and turn it into a skating rink. Doesn't that sound magical? As much as I hate cold weather, and to exist in a place where it gets that cold, I can't imagine. But at the same time, how cool is that? If you're ever curious about how long these Peter Thomas Roth masks last, the answer is a good long while, because I started using those towards the end of November, I want to say, right? At the beginning of November, I've used it every single day without fail. And I still have quite a bit left. I'll probably end up finishing this around the beginning of March. So, is it doing anything? No, but that's beside the point. I filmed a video for you guys. In fact, it should be up at this point, regarding how to know if skincare products are working. And I would say I've definitely given this adequate time. In theory, the fruit acids in there may help lift up, dead mounds of skin cells on my face, but to what extent that's going to be any more effective than me just going ahead and washing my face? Just a different approach, I suppose, because since I've been using that, I have not been washing my face with a cleanser in the morning. I just put that on and then rinse it off. I know some of you live in Alaska, so let me know, does it get cold enough where you live that you can turn your yard into an ice skating rink? I've always wanted to visit Alaska, but in the summer. I know there's a lot of tourism there in the summer too, which I think would probably get annoying if you live there. Let me know. Those of you who live in Alaska, I want you to answer this question. Do you drink Raven's Brew? If not, after the vlog, get Raven's Brew. That's what you need to try, Raven's Brew coffee. My second question is, do you turn your yard into an ice skating rink? Because if not, that's something you need to plan to do. And let me know about it. But the closest feeling of Alaska I've been to is Montana. I kind of imagine it like that. Montana is more natural in the sense that they have done a good job, at least the places I visited in Montana, of not aggressively developing it. Hopefully that hasn't changed. It's funny, the last time I was there was 20 years ago. So I could be, don't listen to me, I'm totally different. But when I visited, I was so amazed by how much, that movie, A River Runs Through It? It was just like that. It was exactly like that. Mountains everywhere in front of you, and not like a ton of cement. The opposite of Houston. Houston's flat, lots of cement, lots of concrete. I highly recommend visiting Montana. It's a beautiful state. It's wild to me that it was like 20 years ago, because I went there several times. My good friends from college got married and they were both from Montana. So I was in their wedding and I got to visit for the preparations and then for the actual event. It was gorgeous. The Chestnut AHA, which is wild to me that my friends have been married that long. Everyone always goes on and on about Seattle, but the state of Washington is beautiful. Outside of Seattle, I highly recommend. No offense if you live in Seattle. It's it's great. It's a city, but totally consider going outside of Seattle and exploring. They have a lot of really pretty areas around Washington state. Okay. I lost my train of thought there. Healthy Renew. I would like to visit Oregon again. I've been there, but I've only really been to Portland. I've been to Portland a couple of times. When I went there approximately 20 years ago, give or take, they had a lot of great restaurants. That I remember, and it was really pretty. Ionix Centella Calming Cream today. Coffee time. I am caffeinated. A little update on turning your yard into an ice skating rink, because I know you have been waiting with bated breath, pondering, is that a possibility? Ladies and gentlemen, it actually is something that you can do yourself. You can DIY your own ice skating rink for your backyard, according to Google. It appears as though it's a real thing. I was under the impression from this book that they just turned the hose on, poured a bunch of water out in their front lawn, and the temperature froze it, voila, you have an ice skating rink. But on further research, I discovered that you can actually build an ice skating rink. And it looks like that's something that people who have family members, children who participate in hockey, obviously would be interested in having in their backyard so that the kids can play and practice. But let me know, those of you who have participated in ice skating-esque sports, which I guess would be hockey and figure skating. Is there another ice sport? Not that I'm aware of. Let me know, is this something that you have ever contemplated? I can't imagine it would be easy to have your own ice skating rink in Houston, Texas, for a few reasons. First of all, it gets up to like 103 here easily for long stretches. Second of all, the ground here, it moves. It moves a lot. I mean, it's a swamp. I can't imagine that would be an easy thing to sustain. Let me know though. It looks like I saw somebody searching, I live in Texas, I want to build my own ice skating rink. Is it a possibility? But I didn't go down that rabbit hole. We have an ice skating rink here in the mall. Might be worth going to the mall now that I'm on this ice skating kick. But I never had any interest in getting into figure skating. I love watching it, but it's one of those sports that I feel is brutal. And watching that Tanya Harding movie, which was really good, by the way. Tanya, highly recommend that. What's her name? The Barbie gal, Margot Robbie, phenomenal as Tanya Harding. Yeah, that movie solidified in my brain that ice skating is not for the faint of heart. It's tough because ballet is competitive, but I feel like with ice skating, it's just technically, I feel like ice skating is technically a lot more challenging than ballet. I'm just gonna be honest with you, and I'm sure that will ruffle some feathers, but that's my opinion. Skating is a lot more technically challenging. You know, I tried gymnastics when I was a child. I wanted so desperately for that to work out, but it was definitely not in the cards for me. I could do a cartwheel, I could do a round off, could never do a back handspring, never. It was all, you know, a lot of it was in my head. Could not do, I should say I couldn't do one unassisted because, you know, they would spot you or whatever and help you flip over. I could never get over the training wheels aspect of that. And I also could not pull myself up ever on the bar, which is like the starting point for the uneven bars. Couldn't do that. I really could not do anything in gymnastics. And I did gymnastics for a solid, I want to say 3 years. Really enjoyed it, but I couldn't do anything without the coaches like putting their hands on me and maneuvering me through the motions. So it was a good experience for me as a child to do it, but I was not cut out for that. Ballet was definitely, I was better suited to ballet. So I've continued to use this Rom and Indy Han All Brow Fixer. It's basically just a clear brow gel. It works really well. But getting back to the ice skating thing, later on in life, as an adult, I was working in a lab, and one of the postdocs in the lab at the time, she, you know, because when you work in a lab, you kind of bond with your lab mates, and I was real, you know, friendly with them. We'd hang out on the weekends, go out to restaurants and stuff as a lab. Anyway, she opened up one day about how she was a competitive ice skater growing up, and I was like, oh, that's so cool. And she had this like, I don't want to talk about it kind of vibe, but she did open up to us about it, about how basically it traumatized her because of how abusive the coaches were, I guess. But it's not like ballet once you get into being more serious about it is all good job, kids. It's pretty tough, can be pretty tough. And I can remember, you know, I was very serious about ballet, but I also can remember in my mind being like, why does this teacher, like, they need to chill out, because there's a fine line between pushing a child or motivating a child to achieve their potential and just straight out being like delusional. In my opinion, a lot of ballet teachers that I encountered were delusional in the sense that, yes, there were people in the class, girls in the class, who wanted to pursue a career as a ballet dancer. But I would say 50-60% of the girls in my classes were there because they just truly love ballet. But outside of ballet, they had other things going on academically. It was clear that they did not have any intention of pursuing ballet professionally. They were there to put in the work, to learn, to get the most out of it. But these teachers that I would often have experiences with would treat everyone the same, as if we were like a professional company. And that's good, but it's also unnecessary and bad in many regards. Like, why are you going down this rabbit hole? Now that you're an adult, do you ever think back to your childhood interactions that you had with adults and second guess, what the heck were they thinking? What, like, people say this is my Roman Empire or whatever, something that I randomly think about. I often think about adult interactions I had with adults or other kids when I was growing up, and now looking back on it as an adult with that adult lens, like, what the heck were these people thinking? But when you're a child, you don't really question adults, but some adults, looking back on it, needed a timeout. I had, not just in ballet, but I had teachers in school who, looking back, needed to be fired. I mean, like, and back then I remember, you know, if there was a teacher like that who you sensed was out of line, you really didn't have a leg to stand on as a child, because adults were like, adults often would, I mean, unless it was something super serious, adults were kind of like, you know, teacher knows best. But I had many good teachers. I had many bad ones, though, that needed to step down. But it's funny, I talk sometimes with people I grew up with, went to elementary school with, and we talk about certain teachers that we had who were in need of a firing at the time. Yeah, it was just a different time. We also had this assistant principal in my elementary school who was like obsessed with yelling at us just randomly. Anytime we had an assembly, you know, kids chatter or whatever, and I get it, you kind of have to use a loud voice to get everyone to quiet down. I don't know what teachers do to get kids to shut up, honestly. But he would just come in and just like straight up military style, like, sit down, shut your mouth, or I'm gonna do it. Like, I don't know if they still do that, but I remember just being terrified of this guy because he had a loud, deep voice, and he was very tall and menacing in comparison to me as a, you know, third grader. Then we had this other principal who was real, like, soft-spoken and quiet. It's like good cop, bad cop in elementary school with principals. I don't know when the American Academy of Pediatrics came out, and, you know, all these professional associations came out with the research and guidelines like we should not spank children. But I feel like I was on the cusp of that because I remember vividly in, I want to say, kindergarten, first grade, second grade, that in school, I feel like if you got called to the principals, I feel like corporal punishment was still an option. Like there was a paddle that the principal had. I remember that. I don't know if that was an empty threat, but you know me, I'm always running my mouth, and teachers did not like that. I wasn't necessarily, you know, disruptive other than just talking nonstop. And I was a child who was very social, and I wanted to know what people, you know, I was always running my mouth. This particular book is good, but had I not read Beartown, I would be bored, I think. It's not as good as Beartown, I will say. Or A Man Called Uva. A Man Called Uva is really good, by the same author. This is one of those Neutrogena color sticks. The shade is Fresh Papaya. I really like these, although they do have flavorant in them, but they're nice and moisturizing. Now I'm ready to go find an ice skating rink. Hey guys, I'm here in CVS. I just filmed a video, but oh my goodness. Oh, that is so cute. I'm sorry, like I don't need any silliness like this. The Purringtons, a cat family? Stop. That little baby cat, well I guess kitten, is adorable with the little diaper. I'm sorry, that is way too cute. I want Purrington family. Grown woman buying fuzzy cats. What's new in the realm of hairbrushes? I feel like drugstore hairbrushes, they don't end up working out well for me. Like they often make my hair frizzy. I mentioned this in another video recently. I need a new one of these scalp shampoo brushes. Oh, as I get distracted, Honeybee Acres also has a bunny family. Now, I can come up with a reason to buy this because it could be Easter decorations, right? Do they have any more of this little family? This is way too cute, I'm sorry. These Johnson & Johnson oil gels are actually pretty good. I wish they would come out with a fragrance-free version, but you know what? The Tree Hut shave oils kind of remind me of that in texture, but less, they're not oily or greasy on the skin. That kind of is. Baby oil is just mineral oil with fragrance, but it's a great option if you've got flakes to exfoliate the flakes. I wanted to come in here and see if they had any Tuscany candles. Aren't these bunnies cute? When I was growing up, I had a friend whose mom sewed these cute bunny rabbits with these elaborate outfits. These remind me of that. Does anyone else find the whole Tums brand unsettling, and the fact that an antacid has basically, like, the pressure to constantly come out with different versions has led to all of these different flavors and chews that really toe the line of candy. I mean, these kind of look appetizing, right? But you really have to be careful to not take these like candy. Yeah, it can cause a lot of problems if you take too many antacids. So I just find like don't these kind of look good? Lemon and strawberry. I don't like Skittles, but maybe they're like Skittles. They also have assorted berry. CVS has some workout stuff. Where was I recently? Oh, Aldi. Aldi has a good selection of this kind of stuff. Pure plant-based electrolyte drink mixes. Recently, I bought this brand I love, Ultima. If you are in the market for an electrolyte drink, this is the best. But they have a passion fruit flavor that I currently have. I got it on iHerb. It's really good. I like to have this for after a run to rehydrate. I used to get these, but they don't dissolve as well as the Ultima ones do. You can color a birdhouse. Probably get full of roaches. Easter baskets here. I was hoping they had Tuscany candles, but I'm not seeing them. I was gonna go over to the mall because, like I said this morning, I was somehow inspired, had a thought that I just needed to ice skate. But, that'll end up taking too long. This is that Coolie Bar pullover I bought, I think last year. I have it in black and I also have it in white. But why is this bus stopped here? This is annoying. This isn't even a bus stop. But like, there's, all right, I'm gonna go. I can't figure you out, buddy. Oh, he just pulled, what? The bus driver just went in and got a smoothie. Anyway, I mean, I guess he needs to take a break, have a snack. But he just stops in the middle of the street. Anyway, what was I saying? I already forgot. What the? Wait, oh, there it is. All right. Reopening February 29th. No, updates are underway. What? In typical Houston fashion, they have destroyed the driveway and they're re-drivewaying it. Yep, that's a technical term. I mentioned this morning when I was talking to you guys about, we were strategizing together about building our own ice skating rinks and how, I didn't really think that I think we're going to run into some engineering issues here. But it seems as though in order to exist here, you have to tear up the ground episodically and regroup. And that's what they're doing there. Tonight I came in with that Hosk shampoo that I shared with you guys a few weeks ago that I purchased because it was fragrance free, so I was excited to try it, but then realized it has methyl isothiazolinone in it. I am still using it, but one thing about Hosk shampoos that I forgot about, aside from the methyl isothiazolinone, which is a really common allergen, I try and avoid it, is that the bottles are hard to get the shampoo out of, especially once you've made it through about a third of the product. The shampoo as well as the conditioner, it becomes really hard. Like it's almost as if the material that the bottle is made out of, whatever plastic it is really too rigid. Sometimes methyl isothiazolinone will pop up in hand washes, body washes. I noticed at Home Goods a couple of weeks ago, we were in there together, and a lot of the cute hand soaps, really pretty packaging for like your guest bathroom, had methyl isothiazolinone. So I try and avoid that because allergy to that is pretty common, and the restricted use of it in Europe and contact allergy to it went down. Likewise, in Europe, they really are a lot more stringent on the nickel exposures, less contact. But it's debatable because you can restrict usage of one common allergen and then it's like another one emerges. Anyway, y'all, I'm gonna wrap this vlog up here. I hope you're having a great weekend, and if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and as always, don't forget, sunscreen and subscribe. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye.